All right, hello and welcome to episode number 4 of the Unfuck My Life Experiment podcast.
Howdy.
This is Cheryl Ellis from Faceless Warrior Project,
Howdy.
which we have decided is do-it-yourself self-help, so go unfuck yourself, as you can see on the board behind here.
It's over here.
You got to move your head a little bit.
Gotta move my head which way?
Other way.
Which way?
There we go. There we go. Faceless Warrior Project.
DIY self-help. Go on, fuck yourself.
Which I think is hilarious because you would think that the self part of self-help would be apparent, but
It's not though for most people.
it's not though for most people. You're absolutely right.
Shoot, man, I remember getting into an argument with one of my roommates in college talking about, she's like, my self-esteem is so low and it's everybody else's fault. And I was like, no, honey.
Nope.
You're missing the self in self-esteem. Fix yourself. Stop crying to me. She didn't like that very much. We weren't friends after that. Now that I think about it.
It's funny, like, how many friends you lose simply by telling the truth because they'd rather hold on to their delusion of the world the way that they see it rather than entertain the idea, even though it can be painful sometimes, that somebody else has a legitimate point of view.
True story.
So
Everybody, whatever. We could get into the philosophy, the whole psychology of how the world owes something to everybody these days, but that's not what we're here for today. Talk to us about what we're here for today.
I will, as soon as I introduce myself. For those who are just joining us, I'm Beki of Seducer Market. I totally just spaced out because we were involved with Cheryl's stuff, which is awesome. So Seducer Market helps e-com stores, especially like the naughty ones, effectively email market and create a hungry audience of buyers that they can market to. So if you want to check out either one of our projects, we're going to have links down in the description so you can check us out. Hey, check us out.
Hey. My understanding is that there's cleavage on your site, so.
Yeah, there is ample cleavage. Cleavage is a staple of my marketing repertoire. I just like showing off my cleavage is really what that boils down to.
And I'm not mad at it.
Draws them in. I think it's kind of ironic though that the episode where I'm talking about my cleavage is the one where I don't have any showing. So, I mean, I feel like I'm not living up to my brand standards in this shirt.
No, absolutely you are, because you know what? You're not giving it all away all at once.
Oh, see? We're just going to sneak peek. It's in there, I promise.
Oh my goodness.
So we did actually come up with a topic today, and as this is an Unfuck My Life experiment, everything we do is an experiment, including this podcast format. So we were kind of talking about how they were maybe getting a little bit long and we should break them up into segments. So the main segment of the podcast is going to be about an actual thing that will unfuck your life. And then all of the accountability and the additional shenanigans, we're still having those. They're just going to be in different segments.
Find your bananas elsewhere.
Yes.
We'll put in a link to the bananas.
We'll link to bananas. So for today, what we're going to talk about is the importance of having a plan so you can adapt when obstacles present themselves, and why this isn't exactly what you might think it is. So I'm going to go first and just kind of dig into that a little bit. Because this is something that I noticed when I was trying to do, so I've been trying to do the 75 Hard Challenge by Andy Frisella for probably close to 75 days. And you know what day I'm on?
Wow.
Day one. Day one again. Yet again. Because as simple as it seems to be, I realize that if I don't make an actual plan to get everything that's on the list done, it doesn't get done. One thing will not get done. And it'll be stupid. It'll be like, I'm supposed to drink a gallon of water a day and I drink 3 liters. And then I'm just so tired and I don't want to drink another liter before bed because then I'll be up all night peeing, which is never any kind of fun.
European.
That's my own excuse, like getting in my way. So if I can plan out when I'm going to actually drink the water, when I'm actually going to do the workouts, and what I'm going to do for the workouts, that's another thing that's really been fucking me is I'll plan. I have 2 workouts. One of them has to be outdoors. And I'm like, okay, these are what I'm going to do. But then I don't like actually plan them out.
Well, why don't you come over to the Faceless Warrior Project and find some of our workouts if we have some?
Well, see, that's a good resource. That would be a good plan.
Quick workouts too, quick and accessible that you can do anytime, anywhere.
The thing is though that they have to be 45 minutes in length.
Okay, so take 3 of them and put them together.
I mean, these are all very good points, but also like I found this morning that I just needed to pick one of the workout plans that I have because I have like 5 and I couldn't decide which one of them I wanted to actually do. So it's just making a dang choice. It's just deciding which one I'm going to do and then committing to it for the duration of the program. I had the same problem with the nutritional guidelines because you're supposed to pick a specific diet, not a diet plan, but a specific way of eating and commit to that. And I was like, okay, but I kind of want to do fasting, but I can't fast for 78 days. I mean, that's not entirely healthy. And I kind of want to like do keto, but I'm not sure if that's the best way. And I kind of want to do whole foods. And I wound up doing none of them. So this morning I was just like, you know what? We're making a plan. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to decide what my values are in life, what the goal I want to achieve is, and I'm going to make a plan according to that because it doesn't have to be a specific thing. It has to be according to the values. What do you think about that?
I agree wholeheartedly. I also think that you need to go back over to the Faceless Warrior Project and find some diet plans because you need to be eating sustainable diet plans. Crash course diets don't work. There's fasting plans there too that are designed for your body type. Well, not everybody's designed to fast 4 times a week. Some people are designed to fast 12 hours a day. Right. Depends on your body type and what your body needs are. So.
And that's exactly what I came to the conclusion of this morning is like, I realized that my block with it is I don't want to do a diet. I don't want to do a temporary...
You want to relearn nutrition and what's proper for keeping balance in your body type.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing though is as you're telling this story, these are all huge areas of your life that you're trying to change all simultaneously. Mm-hmm. And the thing is that if you're making drastic changes in your life for 75 days, all right, fine. But is this going to be something that's sustainable for you for the long term? And if that's the case, then it's their decisions, their steps that you need to take to get there. Because you can't go making decisions on how you're going to eat for the rest of your life without putting a little bit of mindfulness into it. So it's not something that you wake up in the morning and go, hey, I'm going to be a vegetarian today. Well, you can't do that. I mean, there's nothing wrong with vegetarianism, don't get me wrong, but you have to educate yourself on the process to make sure that you're getting the proper nutrients in your vegetarian diet. And it takes time. It takes time. So.
Right. I think that illustrates a great point of what actually winds up tripping up a lot of people when they're trying to make changes is they do this massive overhaul, but they don't actually like put in the planning of like it's one thing to say, okay, well, I'm going to be a vegetarian, I'm going to start working out, okay, but let's back that up. What do you actually want that to look like? What all things do you need to have available to you? Does that work for your lifestyle? If it doesn't, can you make it work? Like there's a lot of thought that needs to go into it on the front end, but it needs to align with your values because anybody can go on a crash diet for a week, 2 weeks, up to a month, whatever, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
But what happens at the end of that?
Your
They
body,
usually
yeah, your body goes
revert
into
right
shock.
back, and they wind up gaining back anything that they lost, plus
And then
also
some, because your body goes into
more.
shock.
Yeah, so you get
Right.
the interest.
Right.
Comes
Right.
back with interest.
Right.
That is not the return on interest you want.
Now, I'm a Leo through and through. You know this. And as Leos, we this is an area of weakness, is planning. We tend to just go at it full throttle and not really consider which direction we're going.
Right.
And it doesn't matter what the task is. You put me in a car and watch out, but we're not talking about cars here. It's just a metaphor. But I digress. The point being that I have a tendency to go at something full tilt without a plan in mind. And what ends up happening is I get the shiny ball syndrome. Oh, I need to focus my energy on this. I need to focus my energy on that. And at some point it becomes like you're in a ship that's not sinking, putting your fingers in all of the holes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you, in that process, you're rocking the boat so hard that now you're lapping more water in than you were losing in the first place. It's important, what I'm coming to learn, to have your planning phase be a part of your plan.
Yes.
I'm making a plan to make a plan, which sounds stupid, but it's essential, because you need to educate yourself on whatever it is that you're coming at before you actually jump full tilt into it. Otherwise, you're never going to gain any traction.
Exactly. Like, so this actually brings up something that I read about in the book Atomic Habits. And I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the author's name. I think it's James Clear. Don't quote me on that. I'll link to it. But essentially what he said is that there is a barrier that you have to overcome when you're changing a habit or you're trying to instill a new habit. And part of that is making it easy to do that thing, which requires, if you're going to work out in the morning, lay out your workout clothes the night before so you don't have to think about what you want to wear to the gym, because otherwise that's a reason that you're going to give yourself of, well, I can't find anything to wear, I'll just go later.
Can I tell you a true story?
Tell me, did you do this exact thing?
No, I did worse. You know how I'm allergic to 5 a.m.
Yeah.
But there was a point in time in my life where I knew that 5 a.m. existed, so I was trying to find it. It was the only time that I actually had to exercise. So what I would do, I would literally go to sleep on the sofa with my sneakers on. Because if I didn't do that, I was not getting up in the morning to get the work done.
Right.
You do what you got to do. What happened was, after 10 days or so, besides pissing off my ex, I got into a rhythm. I didn't need to do that anymore.
Yeah.
If it requires going to sleep with your full suit of armor on in order to get up in the morning with a warrior mindset, put your gear on.
Exactly. If you have a thing that you're wanting to change, remove the barriers to entry as much as it is. James Clear, that's what I was looking up. Remove the barriers to entry as much as possible so that you are more likely to do the thing that you're wanting to do and less likely to make an excuse not to do it. Basically, just remove your excuses. And, and that comes down to having a plan, being prepared for it. So I'm the opposite of you in many ways when it comes to planning, where you're like, oh, we're going to do this thing, let's go. Like, no plan needed.
Yeah, I mean, where I get lost is in the planning process. I'll plan forever, and forget to take the action. So I have a tendency to just start moving and make it up as I go along. Down the road, I pay for it though.
Right.
Because it costs me time.
Getting stuck in that planning process is something that because I want to plan it out to the point where I plan A, also B through Z, just in case plan A doesn't work. And then I sit there and I evaluate which of plans A through Z is actually the best one and should be plan A, because maybe plan A shouldn't be plan A. And then I don't do anything because I'm perpetually planning to do the best thing. Meanwhile, I do nothing, and that helps nobody with anything. So part of this process with the Unfuck My Life experiment is, yes, have a plan, but just decide what your values are. That way, if your plan doesn't work, you can just make a decision that aligns with your values.
Right.
And then, and one of my values is that, or core beliefs, really, it's kind of both. One of my core beliefs is that my body will perform better when I feed it good food, I move it regularly, and I get it down to a healthy weight. That's part of what I'm trying to do with this experiment. Also, if I drink just water, I called it water because there's so many like water plus things now, like water plus flavor, water plus, it's not like 0 calorie sparkling water that's still sweet because it has a shit ton of chemicals in it. Like, so just water.
Have you seen Idiocracy?
Water. The what?
Idiocracy.
Yeah, it's got electrolytes. It's got
electrolytes. You cannot water your crops with Gatorade.
But that's exactly what like people do when they're trying to like get enough hydration in. Is there, well, I don't like water. Okay, boo-boo, you don't have to like it, just drink it. Like, you still need to drink it. Water is essential.
You also develop what happened for me, because I wasn't a water drinker for a long time. For a long time, I wasn't a water drinker. I don't know why. It just wasn't my beverage of choice. But what happened was I started to develop a need for it. You recognize how much better your brain feels, how much better your body feels, how much easier it is to move around, digest your food, how much more energy you have when you're hydrated. And once you reach that point and cross that threshold, who cares if you like it or not? It makes you feel good, right?
Right.
And then you come to realize, wait a minute. I was protesting about the taste of water. Your water is not supposed to taste like anything. If it tastes like something, you're drinking the wrong water.
But real talk, a lot of bottled water that comes in plastic bottles tastes funny.
Tastes like
plastic. Right. So it's just getting a filter of some sort that removes, like if you have tap water, you're probably going to need some sort of filtration system of some kind, or it's going to taste like all the chemicals they put in the tap water.
Yeah, make sure you got to try different kinds of filters as well, because the charcoal filter is going to leave your water tasting like charcoal. That's been my experience with certain, I don't want to mention any brands, but that's been my experience with certain pitcher filters, is it comes out tasting like dirt. Yeah. You know? So and that's not an issue of change your filter more frequently. But anyway, I digress. We're talking about water now.
Well, it's it further goes to prove the point, though, that you can plan to have, water filter type A, then you try it and you find out, oh, this makes the water actually taste like dirt. So you just adjust and you go. That doesn't mean that you don't filter your water, you don't drink water anymore. It just means you find another way to get water that works for you. Right, and it's the same with exercise, it's the same with food, it's the same with work. If something that you're doing is not working, but it is a goal of yours to get this thing done, figure out a way to get it done.
Right.
And that requires having the plan, not necessarily a, in case of emergency, if this water filter like, you don't have to write all this shit down, but understand what you're trying to achieve and make sure that you are focused on solving the problem in order to achieve it, not letting that become an excuse that stops your forward progress.
What I've come to find is looking at the end game, and then like you like to tell me to reverse engineer, right? Mm-hmm. And then finding the action points. But the further I reverse engineer, I get caught up in the nuance and the details. Whereas if I have a goal in mind and I can break that down to a task a day I have to do to get there, what happens is all of those nuances that we discussed and all of those, reverse engineering pieces, those components come up in a timely fashion anyway. They come up organically, they come up naturally, and you take advantage of the resources that you have to address those at the time that you need them.
Exactly.
It's easy to overthink, and it's easy to get down the rabbit hole into areas where you're undereducated and then feel overwhelmed by the entire process. But if you make a simple plan of action that says, look, this is my end goal, these are the steps I need to take every single day to get there. The details of what's going to happen in those steps are going to work themselves out naturally.
Yeah. Or there are things that you can address on a shorter term basis. So it doesn't have to be a goal for the next 5 years that you're going for. It can be your goal for the day or your goal for the week. And then you look at those core tasks and you say, if I'm doing these, is there anything else that I need to add today to get the result that I want today?
Exactly.
So
know that every single day, you can't judge it by your harvest. Because if you judge every day by your harvest, then you don't have anything that's in wait for you for your future. So you cannot judge every day by your harvest. You have to judge it by the seeds that you are planting. What steps did you make to invest in your future today?
Well, and actually that's an interesting point on goal setting, right? So the goal, this like completely changed the way that I look at goal setting. If you want to reach a goal, right? You want a particular outcome. Your goal should not be to reach that outcome. Your goal should be to create the habits that will allow you to reach that outcome. So it's a little shift, but if you focus on doing the actions with consistency that are proven to get to that goal will happen as a result of you doing those actions with consistency. But people are like, well, I'm focused on the goal, and then if I don't make that goal then the actions seem pointless. They're not as rewarding. But if to get the result that you want, your goal is to consistently perform actions, and every day you consistently perform the action, you won. You've achieved that goal. It's a mini reward system of, I did all the things that I need to do to get to my goal. Now you're not caught up in your head of all the what ifs and I shoulda, coulda, woulda, and that it allows no room for negative self-talk, because how can you chew yourself out if you actually got the things done?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that I started when I was really starting to get my head straight and work my way back out of the deep depression was make your bed.
Yes, I do this every day too.
Make your bed. Because when you get up and you make your bed, guess what? You've already accomplished something for the day. Your house and your life, you're putting it back in order. One tiny little step at a time.
And I don't know,
it was such an important emotional shift and mental shift to be able to look at myself every day in the mirror and go, I accomplished something today.
Right. It also, like, I don't know if you had the same experience or not, but for me, when I look at my bed and it's made,
it feels so good.
So nice. Like,
and the other thing,
happy.
The other thing, I don't want to climb back in it.
Right.
So it was an important thing to keep myself upright every single day. Get up and make the bed.
Yep.
Get up
and you got to make it pretty quick. Like, get up, go to the bathroom, do your morning thing, and then make your bed.
Nah, bro. I make it up before I even leave the room.
Look at you. Like, I'm not, if I get up out of bed.
I won't let my son climb under the blankets because he messes it up too bad, and then it takes too long for me to make it. Be like, you can sit in my bed. You can sit in my bed. Do not get under the sheets.
I have way too many pillows for me to be making my bed before I do that first morning pee. Like, that has to happen.
Well, when you're drinking a gallon of water a day, I can see why.
Right? Like, it's been a minute. It's full. We need to empty this stuff. This is not where we need to take this podcast right now.
Oh, come on. We always end up in the gutter somehow.
We do. But it's true. Like, taking that little step, or just so I talk about him a lot. He's not the only person that says this though, but Andy Frisella talks about a power list of the 3 to 5 things that you must get done every day. So before you go to bed at night, you make a list of the 3 to 5 things that you absolutely have to get done the next day, right? Mm-hmm. Nothing else matters that day besides what's on the list. And by limiting it to only 5 things that must get done, do or die,
you can get that done by noon.
You can get, it makes it doable. It's not, you can get a bunch of other shit done too, but absolutely non-negotiably get those things done. And if you make those 3 to 5 things the consistent actions that are going to get you to your goal, then making them a priority in your life is making your ultimate goal a priority in your life, and you're much more likely to get there because you made it important, right? So
absolutely,
I feel like that is a good place to, unless you have another thing to say.
I have one more thing, and it relates back to that Weird Al video that I was showing you.
Well, we always have time for Weird Al.
We always have time for Weird Al. Well, the thing that struck me about this video is this guy's plan was exceptional. You can see that it was thought out before he started the process of creation. I don't know if anybody else saw this. Weird Al released on the New York Times opinion page a video where he just assaulted the first presidential debate.
We're going to link to it.
Oh, we're linking to it. I wish we could show it so bad right now, but it's amazing. This guy had me in stitches because he tore it up. But here's the thing. He had a video. He had a song. He had a plan on where he was going to release this. I mean, you can't tell me that that wasn't a calculated decision to drop it onto the opinion page of the New York Times.
Right.
That does so many things. First of all, it shows that he's not doing it for money, he's doing it to wake people up. Second, it draws attention back to the New York Times as a news machine, right? What a great promotion for the New York Times this thing was. But the song was fabulous. And here's the thing. He actually used audio clips from the debates within it. And he had this thing released within a day and a half of the debate. So my point is, I know that this guy had a plan that he was going to make this song, right? He sat down, he wrote the framework. He got the people in line that were going to help him put his video together. He already had a plan where he was going to drop the video as soon as he had it finished and finalized and completed, right? The quality of the video is clutch. It's not something that was snapped together in 2 seconds. He had a plan. So when it came time to take action, the only thing he needed to do was sit down and listen to the words that the candidates were speaking, pull the ports that he needed to pull, and then synthesize them into a song. You know? Yep. He came at this with a point that he needed to make. And even when you're doing something creative, which I'll tell you, some of the most essential art that's been created in quite some time, in my opinion, go check out this song. It's phenomenal. But it just speaks to the cultural climate and kind of the general zeitgeist of America these days. But he's so good. He's so good. The point is that he went into his creation with all of the checkpoints and the milestones in place. So as it unfolded, naturally and organically, he was able to fill in the gaps. Same as your diet plan, same as your workout plan, same as your business plan. Have a plan to make a plan, make your plan, and then go.
I think it also was easier for him to implement it so quickly because that was not the first time he's done something like that.
True.
Right? So the repetition of a particular skill set or a particular thing that you're doing makes it easier to do in the future. So doing the little things like writing parody songs helped it be easier for him to be able to whip this out in under a day, like a day and a half or whatever, and have it be quality, right?
Quality stuff.
If he hadn't put in the last however many decades of, you know, putting together parody music and just being Weird Al in general, doing his thing, it wouldn't have had the same impact that it has since he put in the consistent work to make it happen.
True story.
Right?
Foundational skills.
So
Foundational skills.
With that, we're going to wrap up this segment of it. If you found any value, please like, subscribe, share, tell everybody about us because we're pretty freaking awesome. And little self plug. We're also going to, last week we talked about particular actions that Cheryl and I were taking. We're going to make that a different segment of accountability, where you guys can just follow along on our journey, as every week we're making our own plan, we're executing on that plan, and then they're little experiments, just weekly experiments on unfucking our life. So,
and we're going to introduce the new punishment system, which is phenomenal. If I do say so myself.
We got a little devious with the food punishment system for.
Oh, it's a game
Cheryl.
Of chance. It is a game of chance twofold. It is.
We're going to give you, our listeners, a chance to contribute to this punishment system in the very near future. So you're definitely going to want to check that out, because I don't know about you, but torturing Cheryl with food is one of the highlights of my week.
Oh man.
Oh, it's gonna be amazing.
Come check out the segment on the other side, right?
Yeah, so check out the links below, check out the other segments. We're gonna put it up as the recommended video that's gonna go like here or
here,
somewhere in this general area.
That's what she said.
So join us next week.
We're going bananas.